Baker and the Rams go to Lambeau, prime time Monday Night Football standalone game, which is weird they didn't flex it out, but I guess probably because they're both not very good, so it should still be like a competitive game.
Yeah.
I don't like Baker on the road at Green Bay primetime in the cold. So I've said before, and I've tried to be relatively fair with Baker. I mean, I don't like him. I don't think he's very good.
Yeah.
I don't think he's super likable, easy to root for at all. But I have been fair. Like whenever whenever I saw that ball at the 2-yard line and I saw the Raiders grittying a punt, like I actually rooted for Baker for a hot second. I was like, come on, it would be cool for him to drive down
Yes.
and win the game. I think it'd be cool. So I'm fair when it comes to Baker. Still don't like him. And going into this game, I got to be realistic about it. I don't think on the road against a defense who, yes, they've been underwhelming, but that's a talented defense, right? They have a pass rush. They do have Jair Alexander on the back end. And on the flip side, they're going to get a running game. So instead of 11 possessions, you're going to get like 8 because the game's going to get shortened. They're going to run the football with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. Aaron's going to hold possession for a little while. So they're only going to get, the game's going to shrink a little bit. You're going to get about 8 possessions in prime time. And Baker's game has never been efficiency. It's never been, hey, here's 8 minutes, 8 drives. Go score on 5 of them. That's just not Baker's efficiency. Here's 12. Can you get a couple quick scores because he has a decent arm? Yeah, that's 100% Baker. It's not an efficiency game for him, though. And I worry when you don't have a deep threat, right? Van Jefferson is fine, evidently, occasionally he can stretch the field. Did a little bit on that last drive, right? He was throwing a Ben Skoranek down the field. That's not something that's sustainable. That's not a sustainable recipe. And here's Baker's stats on the road in his career. This is exactly the stat line I expect from him, and I don't think it's going to be good enough. 86 pass rating. He's going to average like a little under 200 yards. He'll have 56 touchdowns, 34 picks in 34 games on the road in his career. So, I mean, that's compared to at home, 43 touchdowns, 28 interceptions with 86 pass ratings, slightly more yards. So, it's all about the same for Baker. But my point is that's not enough. He's just super, super average. And that was the problem with Cleveland. When you have that good of a roster, you can't just be average. It's not good enough to just be average. It's not going to be good enough to go on the road in Lambeau against Aaron Rodgers and just be super average. Like here's going to be a classic Baker Mayfield game. Ready? Let's just sketch it out. We used to do this. So we used to do this a lot, especially with like young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He's going to have 180 yards, 1 TD, 1 pick. He's going to complete 61% of his throws. He'll have a pass rating of 80.
This is very middle of the road.
Give me a super middle of the road game. Honestly, nowadays that's below average. 80 used to be like a relatively average pass rating.
Yeah, now it's
90.
We're
looking at about 90.
Yeah.
Right now we're looking at about 90. So that's a below average game from a quarterback, and that's exactly what Baker's going to be, and that's exactly what he's always been. And like I said, I am fair when it comes to Baker when he does something well. Right, beats the Steelers in the playoffs. I did say, good game. He also got that game almost handed to him.
Yeah, he did.
Let's be real. But I was also fair with him at the end in Cleveland. That was a toxic situation for both of them. Did he partially cause some of that? Yeah, absolutely. But was the organization toxic towards him as well? Absolutely. Right? You go get Deshaun, you guarantee him money while Baker's still in the room, and then they waited to like trade him / release him for like an uncomfortable amount of time.
They were like, you're going to be a backup probably.
Right, it was like an uncomfortable amount of time where they didn't trade him and they didn't know what was going to happen. Was he going to be a backup? But they already picked up his options, so it was $17 million, and nobody really wanted to pay his salary. So then it was weird, right? And I defended him. I'm like, trade him, like let him go somewhere, let him play. And I said there is some sort of market for him. He's not bad. He's not terrible. He's relatively young.
I think we compared him to like a Teddy Bridgewater, like a bridge quarterback that you pick up for a couple of years.
Yeah,
like what Los Angeles probably intends to use him for. I don't think they want to use him going forward after this season.
No.
I mean, you have a Matt Stafford, and if anything else, if Matt Stafford's going to retire soon, he's going to be on his way out. It's a loaded quarterback draft. So the Rams have a lot to look forward to. I don't think Baker's going to be like fitting in that plan anywhere.
So let's do a little exercise here. Let's go roughly what is perceived this season as the 10 worst quarterbacks. So let's start with whoever's starting for the Jets, whether it's Mike White or Zach Wilson. Who would you rather for the next 5 years?
Okay.
Baker or Zach Wilson / Mike White?
I would take Baker.
You would take Baker?
I would take Baker over Mike White. I think Mike White's very good in spurts. I think he's more sporadic. I haven't seen enough with him.
I will lean Mike White just because I think the upside is potentially greater, and we haven't seen enough yet.
Mine's just
I'll give him
basically
the benefit
purely
of the doubt.
I haven't seen enough.
That's fair. What about Russell Wilson or Baker Mayfield?
For the next
contract included.
For the next 5
years.
Contract included.
Because that's the problem with Russ.
I'm
still going to give the benefit of the doubt to Russ that he can turn it around, and I would assume they get a new coach. I will go Russ barely.
I would take Russ. The contract thing is just really holding me up. But if I'm judging based purely off of talent, who I think is better, I'm going to go with Russ.
What about Kenny Pickett?
Kenny Pickett.
I'd go Kenny Pickett.
I think Kenny Pickett has a way higher ceiling.
Okay. Ryan Tannehill or Baker Mayfield?
Tannehill.
I think Tannehill.
Tannehill's way more experience. He's made a playoff run.
I think he can make more plays with his legs too.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a wide receiver at Texas A&M. What about Matt Ryan or Baker Mayfield in Indianapolis?
Oh God,
I'd go Baker. Honestly.
I'd go Baker because of Matt's age.
Yeah, I'd go Baker. Davis Mills or Kyle Allen, whoever's starting in Houston.
Honestly, Davis Mills hasn't played bad. I think if you put him in
he got benched though recently. Kyle Allen's been the last 2 games.
I mean.
You're right. He was one of the better rookie quarterbacks last year. And he wasn't awful.
I think if you put him in a better system.
I'm taking Baker, though.
Okay.
It's in Houston, though.
For what we've seen, I'll take Baker, but I'm just saying he has the potential to have a good upside.
Daniel Jones or Baker Mayfield?
Daniel Jones.
Really?
Daniel Jones. I think he has a higher upside than Baker.
I would take Baker, I think.
You would?
I think Daniel Jones is awful. I don't think he's good at all. He's completed 58% of his throws.
He's less noisy. And
that's fair.
Baker completed 50-some% of his throws for the entire game in Los Angeles.
That's fair.
Against the Raiders.
Okay, what about Taylor Heineke?
Heineke's a gamer, man.
I would take Taylor Heineke as well.
Heineke can win games.
Let's see, a couple more here. I don't think Geno is what was considered one of the worst, but it's also Geno's in one of those weird in-betweens where, is he good or was it a fluke?
Yeah, but
Right, so Geno or Baker?
Geno.
I would take Geno as well. I've seen a higher upside already with Geno in one season than I have with Baker.
If you would have put this season's Geno Smith on the Cleveland Browns 2 years ago, I think that would have been crazy.
So I released this as part of the newsletter, but Baker Mayfield or Matt Stafford? Contract included. They owe Matt Stafford $20 million next year, but then it goes up to 50 or 49.5, 50.5, 50.5.
That's insane, and that's what they're going to be stuck between. This is I don't know. What do you do?
I would go Stafford still.
You would keep Stafford.
Yeah, I'd give him another chance.
How old is he?
30-something. It's something to think about.
It's
something to chew on.
It's something to chew on. I was going to say
absolutely.
that. Yeah, I mean...
I'd still go Stafford, I think.
I could see the argument for Stafford. The only thing that would make me draw back is the age. I don't know.
That's fair. And the injuries recently. Jared Goff or Baker Mayfield?
Jared Goff.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Jared
close.
Goff. Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl,
absolutely.
And I think he's
playing
the
really
ability,
well this year.
Yeah, and he has the ability to lead a team to another Super Bowl. I don't think
100%.
This year, but
22 touchdowns. I think 7 picks this year. I agree.
Super efficient.
No,
well,
I was going to ask who they have in Carolina. How about whoever's starting in Atlanta? So Desmond Ridder or Marcus Mariota. I'll take Baker. Well,
I'll take Baker. I'm not taking Baker over.
I'm interested to see Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, I can't. I haven't seen enough to say anything on Desmond Ridder.
How about
but I would say
Marcus
over
Mariota?
Marcus Mariota, I would take Baker.
Jameis Winston.
Jameis. I think Jameis is good. I think Jameis and Baker are almost on the same level.
I think so too. What about Andy Dalton? You think it's crazy? It's not. I don't think that's a crazy question though.
Andy Dalton?
Yeah. No, he's older, so it's the next 5 years. That's probably the only reason I would lean Baker. But he's been playing better over the last season.
See,
Andy Dalton has played better.
I thought you just set that up just so you could take the Red Rocket.
No. I really wish I could. I do like the Red Rocket. I don't know. That was just a fun little exercise. I don't know. Just kind of seeing where Baker lies. But my point is, I like...
He's kind of somewhere in that middle.
I really like the Packers going in here, and I think they're going to be able to get pressure. And we all know that if you get pressure on Baker, that's a tough day. And on the road, the home team generally gets a lot of pressure. So I'll go with the Packers. I don't think it's super close. I don't love Baker this week, and I don't love him going forward. But like I said, I'm fair. He had a nice week last week.
Hats off to him,
Tip off the hat to him. But yeah, I don't think going forward Baker is going to do anything special.
No.